Look what we have here. Diatone Innovations Crusader GT2 200, the titanium edition. I'm anxious to get this open. I'm gonna get this open and we're gonna go fly it. If you wanna see some more details about what's all in here, you can watch the other videos. A lot of people made some videos on this. Instructions, extra mount for camera, some extra connectors, especially for your USB stuff. Propellers came in here, your little bag of goodies including your prop nuts, don't lose those, and an antenna, and here's the quad. And I tell you what, I opened this a little bit ago, it looks awesome. If you look here closely at this, you can see how this thing is all reflective. This thing is sharp looking, it is cool. And that should definitely, this little layer of whatever this is, it should definitely keep this thing from having any kind of separation issues. Also, it has the silver windings in there everyone's so excited about, and the silver motors. And these here are actually 2480 kV, which is kind of interesting because most of them are 2300. Anyway, I'm gonna get a receiver hooked up to this, and I'm gonna go fly it. Hopefully this will just fly as it is with no tuning. So we'll give it a shot. So to get started, the first thing we gotta do is get the receiver installed. And so on here you can see right here is where the receiver is supposed to go, and it can do PPM or S-Bus. And we're going to do S-Bus because I'm going to use an X4R SB. This is the cable. I dug it out of the little plastic bag, and we need to remove the inner white wire and the inner red wire. Take those two out because it's going to use 5 volts ground and 5 volts out to the receiver, and then this is the S-Bus connector over here on the end. So those are the only wires we need. And this is going to plug in to this side over here. And then the other end, I'm going to chop off these little connectors and solder these directly onto the X4R SB. So I got the receiver in there. However, I'm not using an X4R SB, I'm using a D4R2 because it's all I had. And it uses PPM instead of S-Bus. Some other things on here. The battery goes on this way because the strap can't go through the metal parts the other way to make it face forward and backward like this. It has to sit sideways, which is okay. And I put the antennas up on these little zip ties I just ran through the little top plate, and I actually had to take off this little piece here to get the receiver to fit down inside there. So anyway, enough about that. Let's see this thing fly. And this is a 3-cell battery. One other thing I just noticed, this thing does not have the motor stop turned off. Is that what it is? Anyway, when you arm it, the motors don't start spinning. So you have to be careful when you're flying this that you don't actually drop your throttle to 0, because if you do, the propellers will actually stop spinning. All right, so here we go. I can see that it's armed because of the little light. There it is. You can kind of hear a little clicking noise. I think it's because of the propellers. This is on a 3-cell battery, and this thing is, extra punchy. I don't know what the deal is. This is extra punchy on 3-cell. It's a little sensitive. It's probably because I'm using PPM instead of S-Bus. I think I'm starting to not like PPM, the D4R2. We'll try a roll. Oh yeah, the roll's fine. Rolls the other way fine. We'll try to do a backflip. Oh yeah, backflips are easy. Front flip's easy. All right. Let me land this. The ESCs are not warm. The motors are a little bit warm, but that's kind of to be expected on your first few flights. I did fly it a little more than I just showed in the video, because I wanted to make sure it worked before I look like a moron and not have it turn on and fly around. Before we go fly this frame, I thought I would show you this. Here I got it zeroed out, and if I measure this arm, look at these things, 5.5. Of course it is, has a little clear lamination stuff over the top, so that might add a little bit, but still, not a ton. And these, let's try this one. This one measures in at 5.4. This is a really, really thick frame, and it's gonna have you're gonna have almost 0 chance of breaking it. Your best chance of breaking it would be to try to separate the layers, but actually cracking an arm, oh my gosh, it's gonna be near 0. Here I have my scale out. I'm going to go ahead and weigh this. Now this also includes the receiver that's in here. And you got to remember, this is a 5mm plate. And let me see if I can get this to balance on here. There we go. 342.4. So about 342.5. And it seems kind of high for a racing quad, but that's because it has this 5mm plate. Just for a little comparison, I'll take this X210 quadcopter, the one I've been racing most of the time, and put it on here. The other one's 342. This one comes in at 335. So it's really not too big of a difference. I think a lot of the weight is saved on the Diatone by having the power distribution board and the flight controller all in one on the bottom plate, and that saves a lot of weight. I did some previous testing with this, and the first thing I had to do was upgrade it to the Betaflight 3.0 and upgrade the ESCs. I think the 16.4. I think I put 16.4 on was the latest one I upgraded. But after I did that, this thing started flying a lot better. And I'm not sure what it actually comes with, but it wasn't Betaflight 3.0, but it is now. And I just have the default settings on it. I didn't change anything except for the, I don't even think I even changed the orientation. Anyway, I didn't change any of the PID settings. So this is all just default and the default rates as well. So we'll do some line of sight first, and then we'll do some FPV. Holy cow. The first thing I notice on this is that these motors are super fast. They're supposed to be 2400 kV motors or something like that. But I noticed the throttle on this, on my Tyrannus, boy, it's way more sensitive because of these motors. All right, now we'll do a little FPV footage on this, and we'll see how it goes. Try one of these new batteries from Banggood. They got the 110C rating on them, which is, I can't imagine it being real. But we're gonna try it and see how it does on this quadcopter. This one's brand new. I just got it charged today. First of all, this is not a 110C battery. That's what it says, but there's no way. You could see the voltage sag in this thing when I was gunning it. But anyway, the Diatone Crusader GT2. This is an awesome frame. I think this camera angle is really good because you can point it down straight, especially when you're just learning to fly, because you don't want to get, it's hard to get going real fast when you're just learning. But if you keep the angle down, then you can keep it going slow by just, you know, tilting a little bit forward. Now, the angle that I was flying with the 45 degrees like this, it still was a little bit hard to fly, and I think it's because the lens might actually need to be swapped out, at least for me, for a little bit wider angle lens. The clarity was phenomenal. The picture quality is good. I think this is a really good camera that's in here. I just like a little bit bigger angle. Now I did happen to lose one of my antennas, and I'm not really sure where that got lost, but it got ripped off somewhere, so I'll be putting on a new one of those soon. On this bottom plate, you're gonna need to put some kind of foam on here because your battery's gonna ride across this little metal piece, and when you land, it's basically gonna put all that weight from this thing right onto your battery. And so when I had this on here, kind of sitting like this, then it actually put a little groove in the battery from when it landed. You know, not terrible, but it did groove it pretty good, and that's probably partially my fault from landing hard. But I'm gonna put a piece of foam on here to help protect the batteries from this metal piece. When this came down, I felt the motors and the ESCs, and they were just cold. I mean, it's a little bit windy today, but these were almost like cold. Like they didn't even care about the amps that was going through them, which was crazy. I've never had motors actually come down cold, but I don't know, maybe it's because of the fall weather. But either way, this is a really nice quad. The only thing I'm probably gonna end up doing is taking this thing on the bottom, pulling out the 4 screws, and then turning it 90 degrees so the battery will mount up and down instead of left and right. But you know, that's not too hard to do. It just takes a little bit of time. But as far as how this thing flies, it's phenomenal. Anyway, this is made by Diatone. It's a Diatone Crusader GT2, and it's available now. You can buy it as just a frame, or you can buy it as a ready-to-fly kit. Anyway, if you have any questions about this, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will try to help you out as best I can. And as always, thanks for watching.
What about if your butt was in the picture?